Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a story that, honestly, it almost sounds fictional. It's a financial puzzle that really makes you scratch your head.
It really does.
How does someone earning, a pretty modest salary, barely enough to get by, suddenly become linked to a fortune worth tens of crores?
It seems impossible on the surface.
Exactly. And this isn't just the thought experiment. It's a real case from Karnataka that genuinely shocked the state. So our mission today is to unpack this. We want to look at the layers of this incredible corruption scandal.
The details, the scale, what it all means.
Right. We're focusing on events around August 1st, 2025, right there in India. It's quite a tale.
Absolutely. Where do we begin?
Let's start with the central figure, Kalakappa Nidagundi. Now, on the face of it, he seemed, well, completely ordinary, an outsourced assistant.
Working for KRIDL, right?
Yeah.
The Karnataka Rural Infrastructure Development Limited.
Yes, in Nilajipura, Kopal. And his background seems so humble. He actually started out as a sweeper.
Wow, really? A sweeper?
Yeah, worked his way up to assistant. And his monthly salary, just 15,000 rupees.
15,000. I mean, that barely covers essentials in many places.
Precisely. Think about that number. 15,000 a month. It just sets up this dramatic, almost unbelievable contrast with what was discovered later. Because then came that specific day, August 1st.
And it's important to understand KRIDL's role here. They're supposed to be building rural infrastructure. Right. Roads, schools, basic facilities, crucial work.
Absolutely vital work.
And Nidagundi being an outsourced worker is quite significant. These aren't permanent government staff. They're often temporary, hired through agencies.
It is oversight, maybe.
Generally, yes. Less direct supervision compared to permanent employees. And that detail becomes, well, pretty relevant. Because on August 1st, 2025, the Karnataka Lokayukta steps in.
The state's anti-corruption watchdog.
Exactly. They act as a watchdog. And they raided 6 locations. 6. All connected to Nidagundi.
6 different places.
Yes. And those raids just blew the whole thing wide open. The facade of this modest assistant just crumbled, revealing this hidden fortune that made no logical sense for someone in his position.
So what did they actually find? The details must have been stunning.
Oh, stunning is an understatement. Imagine the scene. Teams going in, maybe expecting something minor, and instead they stumble upon a veritable treasure trove.
Not just a bit of cash hidden away then.
Far from it. We're talking serious assets. The official reports listed 24 residential buildings.
24 homes.
24 separate buildings, plus 4 plots of land, 40 acres of agricultural land.
40 acres on a 15,000 salary. It's just mind-boggling.
And it didn't stop there. They found physical wealth, too. Yep. About 350 grams of gold ornaments, 1.5 kilos of silver jewelry.
Okay.
2 motorcycles, 2 cars, and crucially, multiple bank accounts that hadn't been disclosed, all holding significant funds.
So when they added it all up, what was the damage?
The conservative estimate, the one most reliable sources agree on, puts the total value at around 30 crore rupees.
30 crore. 300 million.
Exactly. Now, you might have heard some early reports, maybe some whispers, mentioning figures over 100 crore.
I think I saw something like that initially.
Yeah, those seem to have been, let's say, initial overestimations or maybe miscalculations. The solid figure everyone points back to is that 30 crore. Still an absolutely staggering amount.
Staggering is the word. And how was it all hidden? You can't just own 24 buildings under your own name with that income.
No, you can't. And that brings us to something called Bonami Transactions. It's a term you hear a lot in these kinds of cases.
Okay, explain that a bit.
Sure. It's basically a way to hide who really owns an asset. You buy property or hold funds, but you put it in someone else's name. Often a relative, a spouse, brother-in-law, maybe parents, children.
So it looks like they own it, but it's really yours.
Precisely. It conceals the true ownership, helps avoid taxes, and makes it harder to trace illicit wealth. And in Nidagundi's case, yeah, many of these assets were registered under his wife's name, her brother's name, other relatives.
A classic tactic, then.
A very common tactic. But the sheer scale here, it raises big questions. How does such a huge network of hidden assets get built up over time? Right under everyone's noses. It suggests this wasn't just a one-off thing. It points towards something systematic.
Right, which leads us to the how. How does a clerk, even with help, pull off something worth potentially 30 crore or involving even more siphoned funds? There had to be more to it.
There was. The investigation quickly showed this wasn't a solo act. Nidagundi wasn't working alone.
Okay, who else was involved?
The allegations point to a key co-conspirator, former executive engineer at KRIDL, Z.M. Chincholikar.
An engineer, someone higher up the chain.
Exactly, someone with more authority, more access. And together, the allegation is, they cooked up this really elaborate scheme.
What did it involve?
It centered around creating fake bills, forged signatures, all linked to government projects. Over 100 projects.
108, I think I read.
That's the number, yes. 108 separate projects. Think about that. Each one potentially a vehicle to siphon money.
And the total amount they allegedly managed to divert.
The figure linked to the scheme itself is even higher than the value of the assets found. It's estimated at over 72 crore rupees.
72 crore. Wow. So more than double the value of the property and gold they found.
Correct. Which suggests either not all the money was recovered, or it was spent, or perhaps hidden even more effectively elsewhere. It indicates the financial manipulation was massive.
And what kind of projects were these? Were they minor things?
Not at all. That's what makes it even more egregious, really.
Mm.
These were vital projects for rural development in Karnataka, things communities desperately needed.
Like what specifically?
Well, funds meant for basic cement concrete roads, proper drainage systems, essential sanitation, solar lamps for villages without reliable electricity.
Things that directly impact daily life.
Absolutely. Hostels for students, both boys and girls, to help them access education. Anganwadi centers, those crucial local hubs for childcare and maternal health.
Essential community services.
Right. Public toilets, facilities for pilgrims, developing horticulture, building AWS hospitals focusing on traditional medicine, even tourist facilities. All these diverse projects intended to improve lives.
Allegedly became sources for personal gain instead.
That's the core of the allegation. A complete betrayal of the public trust vested in KREDL and its projects.
It's quite sickening when you list them like that.
And the scheme wasn't just limited to one type of project or one department's budget. It spread its tentacles quite widely.
Oh, which departments were affected?
Funds were allegedly diverted from the district panchayat, the social welfare department, women and child development, minority welfare, agriculture, even the tribal welfare corporation.
So a broad spectrum of government activity.
A very broad spectrum. And when you look at that bigger picture, it paints a disturbing image of how public money, meant for very specific, essential community improvements, was systematically funneled away. It highlights, I think, serious weaknesses.
And oversight.
Yes, in oversight, in auditing, but maybe even more fundamentally, in actually verifying that work was done. It seems like paperwork, perhaps forged paperwork, was enough in many cases.
So the system could be gamed.
It appears so. A seemingly low-level clerk, allegedly working with an engineer, could become this, well, illicit gatekeeper controlling the flow of significant public funds. It makes you wonder about the checks and balances at every stage.
And the real cost. It isn't just the cores, is it? It's the human cost. What happens to those communities when the money for their road, their school, their clinic just vanishes?
Exactly. That's the heart of it. It's not just numbers on a ledger. When funds for a basic road are diverted, it means people struggle. Farmers can't get goods to market easily. Kids might have a harder, longer walk to school. Emergency vehicles might not be able to reach people quickly.
It holds back development.
Completely. Lack of proper drainage can lead to health issues. No solar lamps mean continued darkness and potential safety concerns. Schools not built. Hospitals not equipped. It's a direct hit to the quality of life and future opportunities for people in those rural areas.
It's the stark difference between what Curry Ideal was supposed to do, uplift these communities, and what allegedly happened, it being used like a personal ATM.
That contrast is brutal. It's not just financial loss. It's a loss of potential, a loss of faith, a direct obstacle to progress for countless people.
So what happened legally? After the raids, the discoveries, where did things go?
Well, the Lokayukta didn't waste time. A formal case was registered at the Karnataka Lokayukta police station.
Under what charges?
Serious ones. Sections of the Prevention of Corruption Act, naturally, and also parts of the Indian Penal Code covering criminal conspiracy, forgery, cheating, the whole gamut.
Okay. And the two main figures, Nidagundi and Chincholikar, what happened to them?
Here's where it gets interesting and perhaps a bit frustrating from an accountability perspective. Nidagundi, the clerk, had actually been dismissed from his job about 6 months before the raids happened.
Oh, so he was already out.
He was already out of Crore Ideal, yes. But Chincholikar, the engineer, his path was different. He managed to get a stay order from the Karnataka Administrative Tribunal, the KAT.
A stay order, meaning?
Meaning it essentially paused the disciplinary or legal proceedings against him, at least temporarily within that administrative framework, and subsequently he was transferred.
Transferred, not dismissed.
Transferred to another department.
Yep.
So you see a clear difference in outcome, at least initially, between the clerk and the engineer, which does raise questions about accountability at different levels.
Definitely raises questions. And this isn't the first major corruption scandal in Karnataka, is it?
No, sadly not. Karnataka has seen its share. There have been major scandals involving mining, irrigation projects in the past. The Lokayukta has often been central in uncovering these.
But this one feels different somehow.
I think it does, primarily because of the level of the main accused, Nidagundi, a clerk. Amassing such a huge fortune through this alleged systemic fraud, it really highlights how deep corruption can run, how it's not always just the top brass. It underscores this urgent need for, well, much stricter audits, more transparency, better verification across the board.
It's been quite the deep dive, hasn't it? Taking us from that 15,000 salary all the way to this alleged 30 crore hidden empire.
It really has.
It just showcases the sheer audacity of the alleged scheme, but also, importantly, the vital work of bodies like the Lokayukta in bringing these things to light.
Absolutely essential work.
And it's a stark reminder, isn't it, how deeply embedded corruption can become, even poisoning the well of essential services meant for the most vulnerable.
It truly is. And perhaps it leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought to chew on.
Yeah.
If an operation on this scale, involving these sums, could allegedly be orchestrated with a clerk playing such a central role, well, what else might be lurking beneath the surface?
Other seemingly minor transactions, maybe in other departments, other regions, could be hiding similar schemes. It really challenges us to think about the ongoing fight for real transparency, for genuine integrity in public service, and just how vigilant we constantly need to be.